Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Meticulous Moments show, the podcast here where we facilitate community upliftment through leadership development. And this evening, we have one of our ma'am ambassadors with us. Yes, ma'am indeed covers the martial arts, all combative sports, music, the film industry, publishing industry, so many fields, so many amazing legends that are a part of ma'am, the Meticulous Martial Arts Mastermind. And this evening we have Ant Glynne as our special guest. He's my friend and brother of many years, and we are going to have a very wholesome conversation about his life and some wisdom that he's going to be sharing with you. So without further ado, let's welcome him on stage. How are you today?
I'm awesome. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And thank you for making the time to be on the show today.
Oh, it's my honor and privilege. You've again, I'm so grateful for everything. And now today, my gratitude is towards you and the way you've supported me over the years. And, I feel blessed. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. You are most welcome. And you have really overcome so many things in your life. You have faced so many detrimental situations, and you were fighting through all of them, and you never gave up. And we were talking about the happy warriors. You mentioned Marie. Do you want to tell the audience about happy warriors?
Juanita, it's all distorted. The sound is suddenly.
Can you hear me now?
Well, I can hear, but it's all distorted. It's that it's like it can't make out what you're saying.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Do you want to tell the audience about happy warriors? Happy warriors. We talked about Marie.
Let me talk about my book, if it's okay.
Yes, because, of course.
I've recently had a breakthrough in my left brain started working, and all my life I've never really been able to write meaningful lyrics. I've just there wasn't really connected to my heart, and the backstory is that 1997 I lost my daughter, and it changed the universe. Everything changed, but my then wife went to a clairvoyant. And the message that she got from this clairvoyant through Natasha was, tell her dad the word will come. And they've just arrived in alignment. Anyway, so I just want to mention that because I'm free flowing. I'm finally able to write lyrics that actually mean something rather than trying to make something else. My intent is, so that's amazing. And also, I know I've been challenged because I've had, lost my daughter. That was first back into 1997, which again, my universe split. It's no longer the universe that Sasha when she was alive. That's the most significant thing we'll ever have and has happened to me. But one thing, the hardest thing I had to do was close the casket on my own last time. I was all the own son. So to help mitigate so I slipped in a note.
Yeah.
Mere death will never break our bond.
Amen.
And, I believe that had a lot of intent and power in that. And anyway, we've had a connection all through my lung cancer, which ensued after 5 years.
That's right.
And then I learned that actually spiritually lung cancer is what manifestation of grief. So
Yes.
he earned it, you could say. And she's always with me. And whenever I feel like giving up, I see her, arms folded, going, "Dad, what are you doing? We'll be together in no time. Go and live your life." And when you get to the pearly cliffs or whatever, run there out of breath. You
Yes.
know, rather than so. She's been my lifelong inspiration from the day one she was born, and
Yeah.
I was so blessed after the stage 4 lung cancer surgery. My oncologist said, "You may not be able to have children." So I did a deposit. I went to the bank, as it were, and they made a deposit, just in case. And I didn't need to do anything. My will to have a daughter. I mean, literally the first time she she was created, and she's now absolutely my earthly angel. She,
Yeah.
and so I've got a heavenly angel and an earthly angel. Uh,
Good.
so and it helped me. It's just phenomenal. Now I'm now ready. Well, I'm not ready. I'm just there are certain things that I've my development to become the man I've always wanted to be. Um, See, I'm trying to cut out those superfluous ums and blah blahs. I'm hearing myself, so I'm going to stop, breathe, and take a short.
Good. 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 All good that you've shared. Your journey has been incredible.
Yeah, and by the way, I can hear you perfectly now, so that's wonderful.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I'm glad to hear the audio is fixed. We had during our music and creative sessions over the years, we had a discussion, and I said something to you about manifestation, about how you made a decision. What happened?
Well, yes. Well, after all the surgeries, then I get to meet the oncologist. She doesn't kick in till after the surgery. So my my lung doctor, um, um, I asked him, what are my chances? And he went, "Oh, being cured." And he said, "Oh, 30, 40%. And I said, "I'll take those odds." I'm usually really good at that. So I walked into the oncologist, beautiful Junie Bramer at Johns Hopkins. My whole team. Anyway, that's another miracle that got me there. But anyway, so I walked in and, like pretty cool, thinking, well, I've got the odds. And I said, "So what are my odds?" And she said, 10%. I said, "What, getting cured?" She said, "No, living more than a year." At which point, I wasn't a reaction.
Yeah.
It's, it just came to me like very calmly. I teared up because I
Yeah.
had my beautiful to-be wife, and Julie was also beautiful. So I've got these sirens, and I'm
Mm.
tearing and I'm saying, "I'm going to be the 1% who goes on for another 50 years." And I meant it. It wasn't like a reaction. It was an immediate response.
Yeah.
And I almost the words came out as I didn't have to think about it. It was just a natural. And so far, I'm halfway through that, and I've extended because I want to be. I've got 30 years, and
Yeah.
I'm making myself fit enough to survive my body. And that's another thing I'd like to uh, um, share. But first of all, so that without the extension, it would be 27 years, right? So I added another three, so 30 years, which would make me 99, which is quite possible if I look after myself. Right?
Well done.
And,
You made a declaration there.
well, yeah, and if I can do it, anyone can do it. That's my point. And I mean, I wasn't ready to finish the book, and now I've got another step that I can talk about. Not already, I'm on the right road. If I can do it, anyone can do it.
That's right.
I'm just another human. I mean, I'm very fortunate. I've got DNA, good genes, and everything. But overall, anyone can do it, and lots of people have. They've overcome, cancer. When I first got to America, this lovely woman, Marie Weiss, who was the husband of Stephen Weiss, and ran the Swan Song Led Zeppelin's label in New York. So he put me on the phone to her, and she had survived cancer at that point of 27 years after being told she had 18 months.
Oh,
It's just,
wow.
in a way, I mean, statistically, sorry, statistically, that's
Yes.
what they tell you. But I also take it as a challenge, and
Yeah.
some doctors will say that they don't tell you it's a challenge. I took it as a challenge after hearing her. Okay, if she can do it again, anyone can do it. Just a
That's right.
mindset and changing your eating, whatever you need to be the healthy version of yourself. My dear friend who had small cell cancer at the same time I had my non-small cell, he passed away within a year.
Oh,
You know, yeah, and he was a real good guy. And as soon as I heard that he told me it was small scale cell, and
yeah.
that was very very upsetting, sad for him. And I remember this lovely Janice, John Weingart, who was my friend, my neurosurgeon, him and two other neurosurgeon and an assistant all play guitar, and my thoracic surgeon plays piano with them. So I had the perfect people looking after me. They saved my life. But what I was getting back to, oh yeah. So after the surgery, because we had to, or they had to find the type of cancer it was after the surgery, right?
Right.
And we were waiting, I was waiting, everyone was waiting for the results. So Janet went on the phone, she said, okay, I've got the result. And she, instead of small cell, she said, by mistake, small smell cancer. And we both laughed with relief that it wasn't there's none, but the extra humour just made us both crack up on the phone. And it was a joyous laugh because it was also, not the untreatable. I mean, it was very, very apparent because I had two russet-sized potato tumours in my brain, was pushing my brain over to one side. So, but
Oh,
we didn't. But as soon as they were taken out, yeah. Anyway, so I want to sort of curtail the whole story because we're at so much.
yes.
So I'd like to hear. So, oh yeah, and you, oh yeah, back to the point you were saying. You said to me, and you made a decision when you said I'm the 1%, and I took it. I really believed. I mean, even though you didn't really, you didn't recognize it the way I did, but your words were exactly what I needed at that time. Because I thought, you see it, and you made a decision. And I know about manifestation now much more. So, but I talked to the universe, and I believe that sort of happened. And you did it. You confirmed it without really, understanding what you were saying. You just said, "Ant, you made a decision, right?" But you were channeling something that made me realize, yes, I was. So we both, were given the gift, I believe, of this communication, and because of that, I that also helped my healing, absolutely. And it's implied that when we did it, it was like, I mean, when I had the cancer in 2002,
Yeah.
and we first met like only less than 5 years. So
Right.
that's like a renewal of this manifestation. I'm still here. I mean, I often say I shouldn't be here, but of course I should be. I'm meant to be here. Yeah,
Yes.
but I mean, statistically, and
It's a
that's
miracle.
just, it's like a projection. It's not,
Yes.
you know, there's different, there's a whole scale. And I was very fortunately picked to be here. And I already have a calling, three things actually. One is to go out and speak to help people, others, and but I've never felt there's an ending.
Right.
And now I'm on the path to make myself, and I'm working on different levels because it doesn't all happen at the same time. But I'm
That's
actually transforming and washing away any distractions that I've always had in my life.
good.
Um, Also, a funny thing is, for a couple of weeks before the words came and everything from my darling heavenly daughter, and God, I guess, or the higher power, you know, and that's another whole thing I'd like to share, but keep on track, is that I'm funny, a dear friend of mine was interviewing someone on a podcast, and he was saying exactly the same thing as I'm about to say. Transformation doesn't happen instantly. Certain things go faster, and something, it's like a bar where it's
Yeah.
like a race, not a race, but it's a progress bar on different, like maybe 10 lanes, and some
Mm.
are much. So my ability to speak clearly and not ramble ahead. The last interview, which is I asked us to do again, I, for me, I was even worse than I've always been. And I was talking about transformation. I'm delivering the interview, not listening. So I would say, you ask me a question, I go, yeah, literally. So I thought, oh no, this is how I show up. So that's why, and I'm really prepared for this. I feel that at least I've made a very, very um, progress because I'm
That's
listening to my body. And I coined my phrase is I'm traveling at the speed of ants, which
yeah.
means listen to my body first.
Mm.
And whatever it says, I follow it straight away. And I keep my mind on it because the minute I start over and forgetting, that's when I trip, fall over, bump into things. But if I'm following the speed of that, and the more I follow it, the speed will go up.
That's right.
So let me just put my charger in because it's wonderful.
No problem. No problem. Moving at the speed of ant. That's very, very important. You
And I'm
mentioned it,
sorry. Yeah,
and it
sorry.
was very impactful because you are going with the flow now. You are in
Yeah,
alignment now.
that's another thing that I'm glad you brought that up. And if you wish, I'd like to share my
Yes, of
experience.
course.
And let's like my charger. Sorry, everybody.
No problem. No problem.
better if I don't even look. Sometimes your brain is better than your vision. Yeah,
Couple of things.
I've got it.
Moving at the speed of ant, transformation, being in that flow, listening to your body, very important. Tell the audience you wanted to share more.
So, yeah, I've had glimmers of following my body, listen to my body, and whatever it needs, I'll take care of it. The one time I really, really listened to my body is when I had a little hangnail, or whitlow, you call it, my finger, and it was sore. And usually, in the past, I would just say, and like forget it and just move on. And then I realized this was the weakest part of my body, like a baby, and I was ignoring it.
Right.
Right. So what I did, I got some triple antiseptic, a bandage, some cotton wool, a gauze, and I really looked after it. And you know what? Within, I don't know, maybe an hour, I lost
Yeah.
a pound, one pound in weight.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
because and I realized whenever I really did something and listened to my body, it was a daily thing, because
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't the body going thank you, but it was a natural,
The response.
you know, I, I don't know quite the mechanics of it, but it's
Yeah.
something to do with, because your body is your temple. If you don't, and your brain also needs your body to be so it can survive. So it's a
Yeah.
double. Also protect you by protecting you. It's protecting itself. It's a separate organ, right?
That's right.
So,
That's right.
and these realizations, by example, wow, yeah, and all my life, because through traumas, which everybody's had, so I'm not making myself special about that, but I, I disconnected from my left brain because my winning formula was, focusing on my gifted talent and doing the
Yeah.
work. The only not living, but the only thing that I could really trust was my guitar, because
Yeah.
the more I love and practice it, I was suddenly, after every 3 months, it was suddenly, I had something I was working on or practicing. Suddenly, bang, I got it, and it was sort of driving me back as much as I was giving it attention. So,
Good.
you know, yeah, but I knew nothing about life or anything. Well, and I had the opportunity to leave school just before I was 16:30, which is the name probably of the first practice. And, and you're leaving school tomorrow. And that will be it. It was to go and play with the Oseo, which was all I wanted to do was
Right.
play guitar. I suddenly got professional, and luckily, because of the work I'd done, and also I was given a gift in the first
Yeah.
place, and I worked at it, I was ready. And I had no sense of competition because,
Yeah.
not that I mean, I knew I had my own, and I was totally confident I could play. So I thought, what about none of that? I just knew, I believed in myself because and so I learnt the songs in the front seat of a Ford Transit on cassette with my guitar up, like as we were driving down there.
That,
They're
that's the talent and the skill. You believed in yourself. You knew you believed in your talent as well. And you made history. You did incredible things in the music industry.
Well, it came because I worked at it. I was ready, and I could play. I wasn't like no. And these guys, the guy who woke me up, he was the drummer, and he's dear friend already. So I felt safe.
Yes.
Everyone was really supportive. I was like 15 or 16 on my sixth birthday. My mum, I called. She was working on vacation in Ireland. And so I said, Mum, it's okay if I leave school 2 weeks before my O levels, which are like our SATs on, which I'd already done the mocks, which determined how many O level, and I had 8. So,
Yeah.
but I had no interest in academia, academia. All I was interested was playing guitar, and I suddenly had this. It was like a cut in a film
Yeah.
to everything I wanted for, and it was the summer of 1973 in Brighton. It was the warmest, beautiful summer of the best, and I was young. There was a lot of these Swedish students there, and it was just and we had like a Victorian house, like 3-story with a basement that they did. So I was living the rock star life of 16 and loving every minute, and it was like a fantasy that just part of my destiny. And so,
That's right.
and then of course, nothing lasts forever,
Mm-hmm.
and so, and that's another thing. But I really think that would be the starting point,
Yeah.
and then I can back and forth. But so I just, and that was just like it was my rock star dream.
That's right. And you followed it. You were at a crossroads and you made a decision.
Well, actually, it wasn't at a crossroads. There was no decision. Oh, back to my mum. When I
Yes.
asked her, she said, "Well, I'll let you know tomorrow." So she had talked to her crew, and then she called my form master, who was a musician as well, and he actually said he has to go.
So
Not,
he made the decision for you.
well, she checked out the 2 people. Yeah, I mean, I'd already, yeah. She said, "Go fly."
Oh,
That's what she
good.
said, and
Oh,
she's
good.
always been.
She wanted the best for you. She wanted you to be happy.
Well, she knew. She knew it was. I mean, and when she got it confirmed by my, form master, he's just said, "Yeah, he has to go." No doubt. He recognised. Um, so I was blessed without having to go through any, drama to do what I knew I, I had to do. But
That's
having
good.
the lovely confirmation from my mum, I would have not just run away because I
Yeah.
respected.
You went with her blessing.
Sorry.
She gave you her blessing when she agreed on it. That's very
Exactly. And she passed away a few years ago, but she's always been supportive of my career, and I've
yeah.
been to high places and very blessed to have worked with so many great artists and influenced them just because.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. I'm saying I influenced. I've been had a few other interviews, particularly a guy called Marcus Rauter, who's an incredible stick player, but he has a guitar stick.
Yeah.
And he plays with his band is Tony Levin and the drummer from Crimson. So it's a 3-piece, and so he's a big Mike Oldfield fan, but he's also my fan. So we've done a couple of interviews, and he said, and I knew, but I wasn't as arrogant to say I knew, but he said to me in the first interview, and after you played with Mike, his playing changed, meaning,
Right.
And on that note, when we first did our first tour, the first week, the front 2 rows were Afghan hippie with John Lennon glasses and the peace sign. After a week, they were all leather jackets doing the rock sign. And we had a fanzine call us the Rolling Oldfields. So
That
I'm
was
proud of.
influence there, yeah.
Well, because I just come from a band touring with AC/DC for 2 years, you know.
That's
So
right.
I brought that element that he never. I
That
mean,
element.
well, his guitar players were not heavy rock blues guitar
Yeah,
players. I mean, and that's fine. That's great. But great players. Rick Fenn was, which Mike became a dear friend. He was a great guy. Um, he's actually on the Crisis album that I was on it.
yeah,
Mike actually trusted me so much that he said, "Okay, I'm going to leave you in the studio. Just come up with some ideas for that particular song." Actually, I think it was from Shadow on the Wall. But so I just multiple guitars, and he came back and said, "Great." It was like because we'd already met and became close friends on the end of it, or halfway through the AC/DC tour, because he was going back to London and he had some combustibles that he couldn't take over, to overseas customers. So he gave all his, soft medication items to me. So that made us like, and he also when he turned up at the Sunset Marquee here in Hollywood, or
yeah,
actually, yeah, and so our drummer had been the original Whitesnake drummer, and Ozzy Hobley, who was with Mike, had been the tour manager or manager. So Dave, hi, and Mike was there. So we invited him to our sound check,
yeah.
and then every night he came to the show, he was on my side of the stage, literally watching me like a hawk. Every time I looked around, there he was. So I knew that he liked my playing, obviously, but I had no idea. I mean, all I knew of him was like, so I didn't, but I really
Yeah.
liked him because he used Mick Taylor, who was one of my favourite guitarists at that time, mentor, um, for the only performance at the Albert Hall of Tubular Bells. So
Yeah.
I respect, that was that was part of our growing up, listening to that. So, I really respected him. So anyway, that was that. And then the next time I saw him, I was with a band called Cheetah, and
Yeah.
we were playing the Ross Kildare Festival with about 50,000 people, great experience. And Mike was headlining. And then I heard this orchestral prog rock, incredible music. I was like, wow, I want that. But still, because our relationship was based not on music, but on the aforementioned, I found him after the show. He was dressing, this caravan. And I said, "Oh, do you have any, and he said, "Not on me, but wait 10 minutes. My personal assistant, Jeremy, will come and look after you." So I said, "Okay." And no form of communication those days. So, I didn't even, we don't have, anyway, we'd never, but it was almost like, "I'll see you at the next one," or something. But anyway, so I met Jeremy, which is very instrumental. So, he saw to be out, so, but we met, he knew how I looked, how I recognise him. So
Yeah.
literally 6 months after that, Sean's Song had closed.
Mm.
So and I was in the music store, and Jeremy was there and said, "Ant, Mike's been trying to get hold of you. Sean's Song closed and everything. Call him tomorrow. Here's his number." So that only because of this, questionable relationship, he recognised me. I mean, we're already close friends. So I went, obviously, and called him, and he said, "Would you like to do some shows?" He said, "Of course, I'd love to." Knowing now with the music that he would, and then realizing, looking back, also. the song Family Man with Daryl Hall and John Oates, they made a big hit in America.
Yes.
Well, that was like his song. And he didn't do any adjustment. It was the rearrangement, the sound, it was just done by a girl. But it's the same thing, you know. And so, you know, it's like, and so this was the new album, Crises. And I was, you know, it had, I know there was Rick Fenn was doing stuff in, but there was no like solos and stuff. It was just Rick was there.
Yeah.
And so first of all, he, you know, this is hilarious, and I don't think I would have probably been shown to do it if we didn't have trust, right?
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so I turned up. I sort of tried to think, how was I playing 6 months ago? So I don't, you know, so I remembered, you know, I slightly evolved, but I remembered and then just was aware of that. Anyway, so we sat together, I had my guitar, and he said, you know, do you fancy doing this main theme for Julia Bells? This is da 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 da. It's a beautiful melody. And I said to him, he must have felt safe, because I said, do you want me to play it how you play it or with feel? Now, and he's always, now, what in classical terms that means my own articulation, but you know, blues thing, which he was a blues thing. So, but yeah, I realised if we hadn't been so close, he just said, "Oh, there's the door," because I knew we had you know, we're like 7 days apart in birthdays, so there's lots of, you know, commonalities. So so then, after, you know, like saying, yeah, you know, he told me the deal and how many shows and everything, he called me the next day. He said, do you fancy coming and playing on the album? It's like, yeah, of course. And then, you know, I did that. And again, like I say, I came up with, he gave me some parts, and I think, I'm not sure, but I think I managed to come up with harmonies that weren't obvious.
Right.
But when he left me alone for like 40 minutes, I came up with 3-part harmony on the track "Shadow on the Wall." You know, he said, "Oh, wow!" And then and also I remember just the track "Crisis." It's just going dum ba 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 dum, which is great. And because of Cheetah, I took those accents and go, and he benched that, so that really enhanced the track with beautiful. It was really what it needed, and now it added keyboards over my. So you know, it was like and I'm very. I mean, it was just a blessed time, and all because, you know, we randomly met him at the Sunset Marquee, and then because he had to, or he offered, gave me the stuff he couldn't bring back to England, and I was going down to Miami, you know, that made that creation. So I approached him after the show, and then I met Jeremy, which, you know, so it's like all these little tenuous connections happened.
Right.
And anyway, so I just want to, you know, I'll stop there, and please.
Absolutely. It's so great to hear the backstory, and, you know, to hear how you connected with him and how you brought a niche into what, you know, the bands that you were working with and playing with and being a part of, how you brought that influence, that energy in there. Very good to hear that. And we talked about something the other day that I was thinking about as you were talking about filling the, you know, putting the harmonies and filling in that empty spaces and making it, you know, a very impactful track with him. We talked about the fact that when you write a song, not many people know this, when you write a song, you can choose if you want to make it a rock song, if it's going to be,
Oh,
state like a world, tell the
uh,
audience about that because I don't think many people,
well,
even musicians, know that.
well, my first, since the words came, I just did a, I just was able to free flow rhyming lines that fit together, which I've never been able to do properly. So it was very simple, based on like country, like turn the lights down low, dum, 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 make the flute, let the music blow, and those lines were just. But then I thought, no, and I had the next two, like we can dance all night till the morning, like rhyming, but predictable. Then I thought, okay, I do know some of the technique, and
Yeah.
this was split the rhyming to two. So then it became turn the lights out low, we can dance all night, let the music flow till the morning light. It becomes more interesting, right?
Right.
So, and then I kept it the country thing, and I got my guitar out and rocked something, totally changing the genre, and
Yeah.
I spaced out the lyrics. It's more like, turn the lights on, blow, sorry, we can dance all night, party all night, and then um, uh, let the music flow, and it's completely different, but
Different.
it's the same. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's having the lyrics that really sort of have some meaning. Then it's like it could turn into a poem. You can do
Yeah.
anything, and you can spread out, and that's what I'm just exploring it. That I hadn't, because I've been free writing my book. That's why I said, let me
Good.
do what I can, and
Yeah.
so and I've been, and the other things I've been working on is breathing, not letting my brain uh, break the speed of its event.
Right. And of
And
it's
sometimes,
things that you're busy with. Yeah.
yeah, and I
Going
feel
with that
much calm.
flow.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Going with that flow, moving at the speed of ant.
Yes, yeah. I've
Breathing.
spent all my life being the salmon going up against the flow, thinking that was the thing to do because it's boring. And I've realised I've been doing over. I mean, everything I've done. That's why I've been so clumsy all my life, because I overdo it. And with the flow, it's like fighting the wind, or holding, like resisting it from the back. It's trying to help you forward, and you're like, "Oh, no,
Right.
no." and I've suddenly realised I've been doing it all my life. So I've even got a lyric, going with the flow. No, I never used to, or whatever. But I've got an idea already. Um,
Good.
because I've started. I mean, for instance, just a simple thing. When I've got an electric tooth box, all right,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to make it work faster, but let it do its job, and I just have to hold it and just move
Yeah.
it slowly around. I mean, and it's so much easier because less energy, and so my heart and everything is just letting the whatever it is. Even tearing off tissue like you know, in the past, I just gently do it as much because it's designed to not having to be pushed. You know,
Yes.
so
True.
and it feels so much calmer, and I'm more observant, and even sometimes if I forget, I'll hit a door I won't frame. Whereas if
Yeah.
I'm really listen to my body, look what's in, be aware, I
Yeah.
don't have any. things I can, if I see something, at the corner of my bed, that I've got something like a TV, and there's a short space, and there's a famous racing car commentary. His name's
Yeah.
David Coleman, and he did a lot of. So I call that Coleman Corner because I have to slow down and sort of remind me, But yeah, it's
Center.
sort of
So anxiety has been a big part, of many people's lives. Lots of people suffer from anxiety.
yeah, oh
Um,
yeah,
More than people will tell. There's a lot of anxiety in the world. The world is so fast paced, a lot of external influences, pressure from all sides. And it's very, very good to know that you have found ways to deal with. I get anxious sometimes. Everybody has those moments. And you found your secret method of dealing with it.
and
And
that's
good.
one of the. I'm sorry to interrupt. Carry on, please.
No, that's good. I want you to elaborate. Tell the audience
I've
how
spent
you
all my
got to that
life
place.
with anxiety because I've never been able to trust myself because I was
Mm.
only half connected.
Yeah.
My left brain wasn't being heard, so my
Yes.
rationalization, it was all emotion. But which again, that gave me the winning formula was like all I knew was guitar, and I was, fortunately picked lots by people, and I mean, without being arrogant at all, everybody I've worked with, say basically Rick Wakeman, Mike Oldfield, uh, even when we toured ACDC, after 3 days, Angus said to me, "And I've heard them all. You're the best." It's like, what? Thank you. I was humbled. But, Jimmy Page passed on to Peter Grant. He really liked my playing. So I've had these, but I was felt very obviously blessed and honoured, but I couldn't quite know, I didn't know how to respond because
Yeah.
I was only half there. So my insecurity, anxiety, even though I knew I could play, but, I wasn't, I mean, I froze whenever anything I really wanted.
Yeah.
One little, Malcolm and I became close friends after the first tour, and then after the US tour, which is another thing. But I'm going to try to keep focused on the main point, otherwise I'll go off on a tangent. Um, so I met Mutt Lang was at his apartment, and Cliff Williams' wife,
Yeah.
Georgina, and Cliff still remains my dear friend. We just spoke like a month ago or so, and so there I am. First of all, um, I he Malk paid me a cassette of their latest album mix, and after I heard, I said, "Malcolm, that's you on drums, isn't it?" He said, "Yeah." Unfortunately, Phil had to take a sabbatical, and I was with him, and I kept saying, "You need to stop doing
Yeah.
what you're doing. It's making you crazy." And so he had to take a sabbatical, and then that's when they got first of all Simon Rice, but eventually Chris Slade, and then
Yeah.
Malcolm. Anyway, back to so. So the point is that I met Mark on a peer-to-peer situation, right? There was no, and a close friendship with Malcolm. And then about a week later, I had the silver Daimler, like a Jag, beautiful, shiny, and he was outside the studio, Zomba Records, on the Kilburn High Road, I think. So, anyway, and our eyes met,
Yeah.
and I couldn't, something stopped me from pulling over and saying, "Hi," because I wanted to work with him. And I just had so my anxiety and my lifelong freezing, which is something else I wanted to talk of another part of my book, and if we have time, I'd love to get into that more. But because whenever I really got to near something I really wanted, it was like a magnetic polar restriction. So I just carried on driving,
Yeah.
and felt terrible, but I couldn't stop because
Yeah.
I was frozen as far as I just had to carry on. It was anxiety, all those emotions that stopped me from doing the obvious thing. Anyone who wasn't as, sort of stuck as me would obviously do. Oh, it's Matt. I just met him, in a great environment. You pull over, hey Matt, how you doing? And do it. And so now that I've broken through that, I
Good.
believe I'll talk to anybody, whoever they are, and not feel. Sometimes, different characters trigger. So there was one guy, he was a really nice guy, and I was intimidated by him. But he wasn't the one doing the intimidating. It was my past,
That's right.
memory with people who did intimidate me, and it
Yeah.
triggers that thing when anyone comes, presents themselves with anything that reminds me, boof, and that's what I've learned from being there and experiencing it. So all
That's
these things I've experienced, I want to help others who have a similar, whatever field of work, with a family,
that's right.
providers, it all applies across the board for anybody. So
Yeah.
that's why I feel one of my callings, and I thrive on it, to help people overcome, cancer, grief, and just anxiety. They're the three things, and then there's more, but I think the main things: grief, cancer, and, never give up. Once you lose hope, there's no
Yeah.
point. You've got no
That's right.
purpose, and
Yeah.
and really go down into your deepest part of your soul, and if you can remember or realize what your passion, or not your passion, even what you really want to do,
Yeah.
basically, then the commitment brings to the passion, and you follow that, and you're able to do that, successfully. Sometimes, um, sorry, I'm traveling,
That's right.
but I
Yeah.
know, no, I'm traveling at faster than the speed of ant. So
No problem. That's fine. That is fine.
no,
It's a
yeah,
process.
thank you. But for me, I'm training, so it's
That's
very,
right.
yeah. But thank you.
You are welcome. You're welcome. I wanted to add there, with very stressful situations and trauma, they always talk about fight or flight. Someone will
Yeah,
either
that
in a
that's
stressful,
where. Sorry,
right?
that's very useful. That's where. I mean, that's the. Yeah, you say that's exactly fight or flight, or eject, run,
That's
because
the other one. It's
you've
not
got,
just fight or flight. Some
when
people,
you have. Sorry.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
When you have a woolly mammoth after you, you just get the hell out, right? Or if you have a threat, I mean, never get, my kudos, and I've heard it over and over. If someone's wanting to fight with you,
Yeah.
just get out immediately. This is
Exactly.
never going to be a good positive. You might hurt someone you regret, or they might hurt you. So just, get out. Because that's another fight or flight. Do the flight. But
Yeah.
but the original, you know, I guess, back in the times when, you could be attacked by a woolly mammoth or anything, much bigger than you that could be, a danger to your life. Whatever you've got, drop and. So yeah.
Get out of there. Absolutely, absolutely. Now a lot of people know about the fight or flight,
Yeah.
when they're in a crisis, but not a lot of people actually talk about the third one, and that's freezing. And I
Oh
did a
yeah.
study on this. Some
I'm, I'm,
people
sorry- I'm sorry. Can you? Did you say the third one is what? Did you
freeze. Some
freeze?
people freeze, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And
yeah,
it's like a deer stuck in the headlights, right?
exactly,
I,
exactly.
I,
So
I've been there as well.
yeah,
Yeah, and also out of fear, and even when there's no danger, but I'm close to something that I really want. Like I say, I get to there, and then there's a rejection because both poles, you know, two north poles, they're not attractive. They push each other
that's
away.
right.
So that's what I experienced all my life, and suddenly I mean, it was getting better, but only when there was something I would like, but not viable. Then I can,
That's
connect if someone wants to. Uh, yeah, but anything that I really want has been like just up to the point. And what's really funny is I did it after Sasha passed. I have a friend who's a clairvoyant, and she took me on a journey. Um, which was very, very beautiful. And then she deduced from just my energy and everything. She said, "And you reach 90% of the way there, then you could go back." And that is exactly what I'm experiencing with this,
good.
polarity. So she got it, and obviously it's probably obvious to anyone who is in, observes me. Also, I noticed whenever I'm confident,
Yeah.
I laugh after everything.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. I'm now
it's your
not
reaction,
talking.
your normal response.
Yeah, and when I'm calm, and talk clearly with no superfluous words. I don't laugh because I don't have the need. If it's something I choose to make fun, to make you think, I will do it. But this is a reaction.
That's
It's
right.
the laugh means I'm not confident,
Mm.
and a lot of the time I don't really understand what I'm saying. So I'm learning. The minute I feel that, I just stop talking, reset, and take a minute.
That's good. You're working on that. You're making progress. And there's a lot of people out there that are not as honest about things like that than you are. So I'm very proud of you for showing people the journey, showing them the progress, and teaching them how you're getting it done because it's going to help them.
Well, thank you so much for acknowledging that. And I've been given a chance to
Yes.
grow by beautiful people around me. One of them is you. Right now, you are the person. Thank you. Giving me the time and validating everything, so it gives me more energy, and I hope it's an exchange of equal energy for you too. That's the best.
Absolutely.
And the other thing is that whenever you come off a communication, whether it's a phone call or a meeting, and you feel drained, that
Yeah.
means it was where I learned one phrase, an emotional vampire.
That's
As far as,
true.
yeah, because so they're sucking your energy
Yeah.
and then they have an intent. They don't offer anything. They're more, and some people do it. not not everybody does it intentionally. It's
They don't
just,
even know. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And so I've learned to forget and, like, understand, not get mad, just eventually tether myself until they're in the
Right?
distance. Unless they say, "Oh, what's going on?" And if they're open, I will say, "Well, you know." And my dear friend, two friends actually, dear friends, was on it, who were honest with me. Said, "You know what? Particularly this one friend." She said, "Well, because we've met, maybe she's married, but we have some, you know, interested, not romantically, but we really like each other, and we've got a connection." But she waited till the last week when I said, "Oh, I've had a transformation." She said, "Oh, I'd like to hear about it." And because I was still doing my usual, doing all the talking, not listening, not finishing my food that she observed, she said, "Ant, you know, you don't let me speak. And that's why you don't eat your food. But while I'm eating my food, you always got the food on the plate." And I
Right.
thought, but she waited for me the moment rather than either distance herself from me.
Yeah.
She waited for me to give almost invite her by saying I've changed, and that was able to say, "Well, the way you show up, meaning I present myself,
Yeah.
it still, you don't let me talk." And I thought, and what, she's such a kind and a very talented speaker, motivator. She's very, very, has lots of, professionals. She goes, been around corporations, um, teaching them how to keep their energy up by nutrition, simple little snacks, and
Good.
she trains them into keep their energy up for 12 hours if they're on the screen, take breaks every time, some of which I already know, but, she's a professor of, I don't want to where she is, but she's a professor of nutrition at a highly
Yeah.
regarded university. She's also a motivational speaker that she's learnt. When I first met her, I saw like 3 or 4 likes on, YouTube. Now she's
Yeah.
learnt how to do social media, and she's just got the highest percentage below the highest. It's not just a percentage; it's above the next highest. Um, you
Level.
know, viewed looks, which is, and there is like 75%, etc. And she's done that by learning and mastering to me, probably in 3 to 4 months' time. To,
Yeah.
to now, she's got a whole page of these interviews, lots of, so, and that's happened in the time I've known her. So,
Good.
and so back to this lunch we were having, and she said, "And every time we've met, probably 10 times, you just talk and you don't let me speak." And I was like shocked. And they said, "Well, please help me what I can do." And then she coached me to ask the superficial questions and then dig deep rather than just going. So, and she actually coached me at that same
Good.
time. That's how a beautiful soul she is. And I'm lucky enough to know her and have her.
Amen.
And I'm not sure. I hope she doesn't. So that was it, and I'm going to distance myself. I don't think so, but
No.
I'm aware it could happen. Well, I don't know. I don't. We'll see, but I don't think so. But I'm going to back off and wait till she say, "Hey," because I was always the one. "Oh yeah, let's hook up," and she said, "Yeah, sure, when I'm available, sure, of course." And now, because I feel I'm, I'm at risk
Yeah.
my position, I need
Uh,
to let her reach out. which she did last time anyway. So it's no problem. But sometimes our schedules, well, hers mainly up till
Yeah.
now, don't allow us until like 3 months is fine. She's
Yeah,
very, very.
it's all that teaching, learning and applying, and that's what you're doing, right? You got that. What do they call it? They call it constructive criticism, right? Constructive meaning
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's there to
exactly.
show you
Yeah,
and help you, but you took the next step. You went and you applied the information that she gave you, and you're still doing that, and that's how
well,
people grow. And
yes. Again, I love. There's two sayings. One, God gave you two ears and one tongue for a reason.
yes,
Just listen. You can't do both. And also, the indigenous, Americans, they has the tongue makes you deaf.
that's
They're
right.
so yeah. And you don't learn anything if you share what you know. You never learn anything other than what you know. If you
Yeah,
listen and listen more and unfortunately, I've been that person because I haven't had the well. I mean, I've got no excuse. The trauma made my left brain basically not be heard
yes,
because the lenses
connection wasn't
were
there.
yeah. It just but what happens outside in the real world happened. What you make of it can be reset. That's what I love about the animal. They coach you to realize you list the things that happen in the real world, and then they list you that you have to. They're not telling you that you do the work, but they just
Yeah,
coach you, which is one, and it's a voluntary which you go up. There's no anxiety if you choose to do it. Then it's up to you, and that you have an experiential experience because you've got maybe 200 people who are
yeah,
similar and they're with you. So it's more than just one to one. It's like on stage in front of up to 200 people who are there for some sort of transformation or to observe. Oh, okay, but they're all got your back. And there
yes.
was one girl, and it's amazing. She was raped by her stepfather, and he was in jail, and she wanted to forgive him. And
Mm,
she went through the process and then was ready to go. And you don't forget. Well, that's the old privilege, forgive but don't forget. Maybe that is an adage, but it's an old one. So maybe that's maybe evolved into forgive and, you know, I mean, the forget point is never let it happen with anybody else. Don't forget that
that's
this
right.
is a possibility. And so I think that's more than never indelibly forget that what the person did. I think it's more of a going forward. Don't forget that
That's
this could
right.
happen. Yeah.
That's
I,
right.
I, 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 I choose to interpret that way. Don't let
Yes,
yourself get into vulnerable situations if you recognize it and don't get the hell out. So,
that's right. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's been such an honor to have you here to hear your story, to let the audience learn about the things that you've been through, how you've really taken the input that you've received and that you're doing something. Action is very important, and you're keeping that momentum. That's very, very important. That's going to help you so much in the next step of your personal development. So very proud of you. Congratulations, well done, and
well,
keep.
I mean, it's due a celebration, but I've got to not got to. I am following the path, and I'm so happy to be on finally the path to becoming the man I've always wished to be. And then,
Amen.
and when everything is the timing, that I have is also saying, when the time's right, that's the right time.
That's very true. That's the line for this evening. When the timing is right, that's the right time.
Thank you so much, Anita, and I look forward to our next segment. Um, because you're with me all the day way until I get my book published and I'm able just a small 100-page abridged, and then I want to do a novel size. But for now, I want to get this 100-page book so I can go out and speak. And,
Amen.
and and what's amazing, I've found that I can do the hand movements in sync with my saying. Uh,
Good.
And I didn't even realize that until I started talking. I think, oh, hang on a minute, I can like highlight. You can't see my right now. I sound like it, but these ones and all of this. I don't want to say because I'm still working on it. I can do it on
Yes,
my own. But
that's
it's all
right.
it's so very cool uh, exercise and helping me become congruent. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Congruent on what I do, what I say. No questionable marks, and I'm
Yeah.
living that life and I'm enjoying it. I know people that have that congruency, and
That's right.
so I have role models all over, dear friends, and I that's all I've always wanted to be,
Yeah.
someone who could help others and impact their lives, if it's just one person.
That's right. Yeah.
And if it's what I'd love just to end on another really important thing I learned. If you don't show your talent, you're
Mm.
actually hurting others
Mm.
because you're depriving them of light that
That's
you're
true.
holding in for whatever reason. So if that's my duty, I mean, I intend to, reinstate my musical career because I've got
Good.
so many unfinished songs over the last 20 years. And I know I can just repurpose, edit, because now I've got my left brain working. You know,
That's
I can
good.
actually.
Yeah.
So everything is amazing. Every day becomes more amazing than the last day. So it's amazing. I'm high on life, not on drugs, which was, weed was my emotional zone out time whenever I got any negative. I wouldn't change. It would just give me a break. And then the
Yeah.
next morning, I'd still have the same issue. So, it wasn't good for me, but at least it was my emotional crutch all my life.
Yeah.
So I've managed to totally not need it, not even think about it, and I'm still feeling better because I've actually got a purpose that I'm now following. So,
Good.
on that note, thank you. I mean, I'm not going to, you can end it, but that's all I wanted to say. I'm so blessed and grateful that you came up in my life during my, you know, healing, uh, mentally as well as cancer. You know,
Yeah.
so everything seems aligned, like you mentioned the word aligning, and I feel so excited. What's next?
Absolutely. Absolutely, guys. Watch this space. There's a lot of things that's going to transpire from this. Ant is busy behind the scenes doing wonderful things. And I'm on the road with him. And we are going to do more segments. And we will definitely present them to you. So, congratulations. Have a wonderful evening. And thank you so much for being here and for sharing.
Well, it's my honor and a privilege, and I'm so blessed. Thank you to be able to share.
You're very welcome, and have a great evening. We'll speak soon and keep
You
on
bet.
shining. God bless you.
Keep on rocking, as they say.
Yeah, keep on rocking.
Yeah, because that's my real passion, music. So, but now I've expanded my passion for helping others. It's always been there,
Good.
but now
Absolutely.
tools are everything I need. So I just have to work and work on it. And it's joy. It's not work. It's pleasure because that's what I feel
That's
I'm
right.
here to do. Anyway,
Absolutely.
thank you so much.
Thank you, and God bless. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Speak to you soon. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye bye. Guys, what a great interview with a legend, and it's so true what he said and said that we have a responsibility to use our gifts and talents because otherwise we are negatively impacting the world. I really appreciate that he said that because a lot of times people have those talents and skills and they are not walking in that anointing. They are not using those talents and skills. So if you have something to offer the world that God has blessed you with, you have to start and hone that skill and make sure that you use it. Very wise words from Ant. He's moving at the speed of Ant. Very, very important, very impactful. Don't let the external influences from the world put you in a place of anxiety and kind of take you with all these crashing waves. Get to a place where you center, get to a place where you're in your flow, where you are in alignment with yourself and the universe. And as we've seen with Ant's life, what will happen? Everything will fall into place. So he's definitely got a lot of wisdom that he shared here this evening. Ma'am cheers him on. He's one of our ma'am ambassadors, and there are great things that are going to transpire from this. So keep cheering for him, follow him, and leave your comment for him there. Thank you so much for joining this evening and for listening to this awesome, edifying conversation. There will be more of those. And of course, I just want to give a shout out to my baby, Kevin Oliver. I love you, honey. Also, go to his pages, stoppinggunviolence.com and stoppingfentanyl.com. I bid everyone a great evening. I'll see you in the next session. Bye bye.